It's an absolute honor, the whole world knows about the show, and then all of a sudden you become a part of it, and it's still today. I'm here and I'm going, is this all real? Is somebody going to pinch me? I mean, it's been a very different world to film in a pandemic, but then again, we get to work during the pandemic, so whatever it takes that comes with it, working with masks and being tested every day, that's just what you do. You don't complain about that. It's been a different world, but filming in New York is so spectacular because you get to experience and find gems that you were not aware of. Like, we've been shooting at locations that I didn't even know that existed in New York City. So that's amazing that you get to see these places, that you get to go to places where otherwise you wouldn't have gone.
I joined relatively late, and I worked with Josh Safran on Soundtracked, which was a Netflix series we did before this. I love Josh with all my heart. I think he's so creative. I think he really cares for his actors and his writers, and truly makes it a collaborative process, and so I was happy to go with him anywhere. I play Wendy. I don't think Wendy is aligned with anyone particularly. Wendy wears a lot of high collars. She's on her own journey. She's fun. I think she's fun. I think other people might not think she's fun.
Well, my role in Gossip Girl, I can just about tell you my name, I think, which is Rima. And I would say I was on the shyer side. That's it. Who knows if it changes? Who knows anything? Gossip Girl is such an iconic thing. I grew up in Dubai, in the Middle East, and everybody was watching it. We all had different characters that we wanted to be. So being a part of it is, number one, just cool because it's something that I watched growing up. And then also, it's so diverse, and coming from the part of the world that I came from, I never really got to see people like me or the rest of the cast on screen a lot. And that did affect me growing up. So this, I think, is really exciting because it's for a younger generation and for all generations, to be honest. It's different storylines and diverse characters, and it's exciting.
I still feel like I'm in some sort of dream. My husband and I were rewatching the series this summer when I knew I was going to be a part of it, and every once in a while, watching the original series, and every once in a while I'd turn to him and go, I'm going to be on this show. I'm going to be on this. And we would just cackle, and we thought it was so great. But I really love the direction of this season. I think it's so smart, and I like that it's having actual conversations, but still in that fun, like addictive, like it's sort of galloping along. It has that same breathless quality as the original, but I feel like we're having real conversations about what it's like to be alive today, and what it's like to be a teenager today, and what it's like to be a gay dad today.
So I'm Headmistress Burden, and she's been at the school for about 5 years. She was a friend of the former headmistress who let her know that this was not going to be an easy gig, but my character, as we thought about her backstory, we thought, well, she was a headmistress at a private girls' school in Connecticut, much more reserved, and she felt like, I've dealt with kids this age, I know what I'm in for, but really didn't have any idea of exactly how intense the social scene was going to be, and also the pressure of the parents and the power of the parents, and trying to figure out how to balance her own integrity and really do her job in a way that she feels is attending to her own moral standards and not lose the job, doesn't want to lose the job, and doesn't want to lose herself psychologically, which was maybe happening a bit with the former headmistress.
We wanted to make sure it came back at the right time for the right reasons, and when Josh Safran came in with his take for what a new show could be, we thought that this was it.
This was it, yeah. It didn't feel like we were just bringing it back to bring it back, but it had a real relevant reason for coming back that we were really excited about.
That was always an important part of the original show, is making sure it felt very, very grounded in the real world, and they were going to real restaurants, and events happening in the world were being reflected in our characters' lives, and so we wanted to keep that going, and it's been really fun to see the updated version of that.
No, we're back at the same school. We're back in the same part of town. Obviously, the Upper East Side. Kristen Bell is back, but it's a whole new generation of kids. And hopefully, and we believe it feels as relevant for audiences today as the original did when it aired.
Josh and Stephanie came to me, and we had done the first one together. They'd created it, and I was sort of a writer and then an executive producer. And they sort of tried some things, and they hadn't quite felt like they nailed it. So they came to me and said, if you want to do this, let's all do it together. And if you don't, let's not do it at all. And I thought that was actually great because it was like no stakes. And I didn't have an idea, and I was like, I think maybe it's just not time. Or not enough time has passed. And then by the time I left breakfast and got to my car, I had an idea. And I called Stephanie, and she was like, of course you had an idea between the breakfast and your car. And that was the idea, and that's the show. And I just think, it just was meant to be. I think you're greeting a new world where social media is key for all of us, no matter how old you are. And this idea of Gossip Girl using the thing that you use to present yourself as a way to poke that and expose who you really are, I just think is a really new, unique thing that didn't exist the first time around.
I play someone named Jordan. I can't tell you much about him, but I can tell you that he's a teacher and that there is a sort of parallel storyline to the kids that the teachers have that's very much connected, but I can't say more than that. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the original. I think it's so fun and sexy, and it's such a New York-y show, and I feel like as a New Yorker I really appreciate that. And so, it's sort of like it sort of jumps off from the original one. It takes place in 2021. It's a totally new world. There's social media now. Anyone can be Gossip Girl. It's just a dream group of people. It's a very, very beautiful, very, very talented, lovely company. It's a great group of people to be around. So it's a joy to work on the show.
It's the best opportunity ever. I don't know how many times I've thanked Josh. I feel like he's annoyed with me now because I'm always just like, thanks for this opportunity. It's massive, especially someone who has come from comedy and has done a lot of I've done dramatic stuff, of course, but I'm mostly known as this comedic goofball. And so to do something like this where the character has gravity and has some weight and is really centered is just a dream come true in every aspect.
And how was working with the actress who plays your daughter?
Yeah, Winnie is great. Winnie Peak is a godsend, and we hit it off instantly. The moment we really met was just in the hallways outside of the studio test. And once we went inside, it was just jokes rolling out. It really felt like we had some kind of established relationship, whether it was big brother or mentor or dad or whatever. It was all in there somehow from the beginning. And it was a fun test, which is usually not the case. Usually you're just sweating buckets and worried about everything. And we just constantly goof around. We hang out in real life, and I really feel protective of her, especially because she's new to the city and everything. So me and my wife have become kind of weird surrogate parents of New York parents. Yeah, I build furniture for her. I've done it. I've picked up stuff for her from the Apple Store.
Oh my gosh, what does it mean to me? To be honest, I'm still processing it because it feels so major, and now that the show's about to see the light of day, I don't even know how to understand it. But it is amazing, of course. It's my first TV show ever. I've never done a TV show before, so for it to be this, it's more than I ever could have hoped for. It's incredible. The cast is amazing. They're all so different. They all come from different places, and they have different backgrounds, and for me, as a theater actor, getting to step into this world, it's amazing to work with all of them. And I have some of my friends from the theater world with me, some Broadway actors who were incredible. And the kids are just amazing. And they're all going to be insanely bright stars. I can't wait to see what happens for them.
It's been wonderful. I love my castmates so much. And it's been a ride for sure. It was a year and some ago. And then COVID hit. And then I sat with that excitement for a year and so, and here we are.
Oh my gosh, so I play Luna Law, who is originally from Mexico City. She has famous parents, and she lives alone in New York while she styles her best friend and makes her look good. And she's just deliciously mean and deluded. I couldn't believe it. I personally am a huge fan of the original. I grew up watching it pretty religiously every night, so I just felt completely grateful to be a part of this, yeah.
As excited as I think anyone would ever be ever. I mean, I've lived in New York for 3 years now, so this is home.
and to be part of a show that's so legendary for the city and like a love letter to the city is so amazing. I feel really lucky that in my first gig I've actually made friends with my co-stars, and not like, oh, we're friends on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, but like genuinely best friends. Diversity, we always have, you know, a long way to go. We always have more to do, and I definitely acknowledge that, but it feels so good to be on screen, you know, and hopefully a little brown girl, a little black girl at home, just like me when I was like 5, can look up to me and be inspired. Queer people and people of color can be in positions of power and in positions of wealth.
This is insane. This is my first premiere ever on a show that I'm so proud of working on, and I'm very excited for everybody to see it. But this is so surreal right now. I think I kind of refused to deal with it. I put it off for the longest time until I was actually in New York filming and doing the show. But I think it's a continuous pinch me moment for sure. We are still filming in New York, and it's kind of the best tour. It's like the most elevated tour of New York anybody can ever get, because whenever we film at places, it's usually always booked out or completely empty. So it's always interesting to see what they look like on set versus in real life. But yeah, it's been beautiful here, and I've never been, and I've always wanted to come here, so it's great that I get to work here. We have so many different kinds of people in our cast, so it's always interesting. I feel like you're always learning something from everybody, and I think just how different we all are when we're put together, it's just always a good time.
It was very, very exciting. It is very, very exciting. I mean, it's such a fantasy land, and I'm a very dramatic person, so I do love a fantasy land. I do love a drama twist, so this is just very fun to live out. It was very surreal. I think that it took me a long time to kind of really process that was happening and that was real. I think I thought, you know, you must have misunderstood until I got to New York. I was like, surely something's gonna come. Oh, sorry, no, we didn't. You know what I mean? So until it was really in New York, I really kind of was like skeptical. Baby Girl is on top, but enter Gossip Girl. So yeah, and you know how she do. It was so much fun. Everyone is such an incredible creative and such a wonderful imaginative energy that I feel like every time on set you're just very fed. You know, you're around creatives, you're around people who you know, want to do art for a living, and that is like nothing else.